So I did a live stream the other night for the first time on YouTube, and it was pretty fun. I did a fake one recently where I kind of asked you guys for questions on Twitter, and then I answered the questions and recorded me answering it and then posted it later. But I did a live stream, and that was pretty fun. And one of the things I spoke about towards the end was Cornel West versus Ta-Nehisi Coates. Now, Cornel West wrote an article in The Guardian, and he basically calls Ta-Nehisi Coates the neoliberal face of the black movement or the black resistance, or I don't know exactly how he phrases it, I don't remember, but he calls him neoliberal. Says, listen, Ta-Nehisi Coates is, his writings are good, but they don't give you the complete picture, and he's kind of an apologist for the neoliberal wing of the Democratic Party. And I tend to agree with Cornel West, but he elaborated on this on The Root, and I want to show you what he said, and then we'll discuss.
Why critique Ta-Nehisi Coates in the New York Times?
Well, I think what we have to do is be honest in private and in public. And Brother Coates is a brilliant brother, there's no doubt about that. He's part of the same tradition that I am. And I called him on the phone, and I just told him up front. I said, you're an important voice, crucial voice. We come from a tradition that says lift every voice. But from what I can see, there's a difference between somebody blowing the saxophone sounding good and John Coltrane. And I told him, I failed too, but we got to keep standards up. And I'd love to sit down and talk with him. I'd love this. I mean, I'd ask him. You say this is good Negro government tied to Obama and all the good things that it's done. I don't view good Negro government as policies that don't highlight poor people, that have drone strikes, that's tied to Wall Street, that reinforces surveillance. That's not good government for me. You see? So we just have a difference. So I'll just say, Brother Coates, explain to me what you mean. Page 103 in Brother Coates' wonderful text that he just put out, he says, Ossie Davis gave a eulogy for Malcolm X and said, he is our living, shining black man, our black manhood, and the only person that we can say that about today is Barack Obama. I say Barack Obama's no culmination of the legacy of Malcolm X. Please, that is a thoroughgoing misunderstanding of the history of the black freedom struggle. We had to be honest. You can't have a Barack Obama viewed as a culmination of Malcolm X. You misleading a whole generation of people. Malcolm gave too much. The truths he spoke were too deep to be tied to a black face of an American empire. Oh, Brother Coates, you're wrong as two left shoes on this. But we need to sit down and talk about it. If he wants to sit down and talk, I'd love to do it. I'd pay for the meal and the cognac. Oh. Because he's a brilliant brother, and we got much to learn from him. I just don't like talking about white supremacy independent of empire and patriarchy, especially of class.
At the end, he said, especially of class. I don't know if I think cut off a little soon there. People are tarring Cornel West now with he's just jealous of Ta-Nehisi Coates. When you watch that clip, it's pretty apparent he's not jealous. He has a substantive difference with him, and he wanted to explore that difference. And for people who say, no, hey, you shouldn't be, like, why are you taking down another prominent black writer, like a left-wing black writer? That's not cool. No. The time to have these discussions and these conversations is right now, in the era of Trump, because the left has to get on the same page, where we shouldn't be resisting in ways that are wildly different. Like, for example, if you turn on Rachel Maddow's show every night, it's a virtual guarantee the majority of her time is going to be on Russia. In fact, The Intercept did a breakdown on this maybe a few months into President Trump's time in office. And Rachel Maddow had covered Russia more than every other issue combined. Every other one combined, which in my mind is fucking inexcusable. And, hey, she would say, no, I'm resisting and this is the way to resist. But I would counter-argue, no, that's ineffectual. What you're doing is ineffectual. You're not hurting Trump. You're actually helping Trump. When you say, no more Trump, let's have another Obama. But no, that's not good enough. And that's the point that Cornel West is making. When you say, hey, Barack Obama, as Ta-Nehisi Coates said, walked on ice for 8 years and never slipped. So, hey, he had no scandals. Barack Obama is the culmination of Malcolm X's legacy. He's our black manhood. Well, no. As Cornel West said, he's a black face on American empire. In one of his last years, they dropped 21,000 bombs on Muslim-majority countries. The U.S., under Barack Obama, and still to this day, backs 73% of the world's dictatorships. NSA spying got worse under Obama, not better. He took 2 wars and turned it into 7. He is too tied in with Wall Street. Citigroup literally picked people in his transition team. There were emails that were exposed by WikiLeaks. Citigroup's like, here's who you're going to put in these positions. He's like, okay. Listen, this isn't me doing a full false equivalence and saying Trump and Obama are the same. It's all the same. No. When you do a report card on both, and by the way, I did do a report card on Obama, and you should check out that segment, a long breakdown of every single one of his policies and what I would give him as a grade overall. I think there is a difference. I think that generally with the Democratic Party, they run-of-the-mill Democrats get a grade of D, but Republicans get Fs. So there is a difference there. That is, I would rather get a D than an F. Of course. But what Cornel West is saying is, no, that's not enough. You can't, if you're going to be a writer that props up Barack Obama, well, then stop pretending like you're some sort of revolutionary. Stop pretending like you're a voice that fights against injustice. No, that's just standard partisan nonsense, and that's neoliberalism. That's what it is. You're backing the neoliberal wing of the Democratic Party. And by the way, Ta-Nehisi Coates quit Twitter as a result of this feud. And to be fair, I don't know if you call it a feud because I guess he responded with a few things, but then he deleted his Twitter. He's like, I'm done. I didn't sign up for this. And he left. Okay, you are under no obligation to respond to people and to say, hey, this is why I think I'm right and he's wrong, and you have every right to drop off of Twitter if you want, but it just feels weird. Like, it feels like the criticisms are very substantive, and then you were just like, yeah, whatever. I'm out. Like, what? But I agree with Cornel West. I think his points are spot on. I like a lot of Ta-Nehisi Coates' stuff that he wrote. But when I read them, it does seem like he only talks about the racial aspect of stuff. And some might say, well, listen, that's, hey, that's what he does. That's the only part he focuses on, and that's on purpose. But in my mind, you're doing a disservice to the people who read you if when you talk about these complex issues, you only talk about it from that perspective. Because then what you're doing is, and Cornel West makes this point, it's kind of like a nihilistic pessimism where you talk about everything that's wrong with, and white supremacy is the problem, and let me tell you everything that's wrong, and you don't talk about the solutions as in a collective sense as what policies we get implemented to fight back against it and why this is tied in with class and empire. He ignores the class part, he ignores the empire part, he ignores the ways to fight back for justice, and it's just, propping up of the neoliberal order behind Barack Obama. Because, hey, he's black. He's black, and he became president, so he overcame this system that was biased against him that's overwhelmingly run by white men. So, end of analysis. And Cornel West is, no, that's not the end of the analysis. It's a lot more complex than that, and you're doing a disservice by not talking about Medicare for all, free college, living wage, the fight for true racial justice, ending the drug war will be a huge win for racial justice, and you go down the list. So he also makes the point, I don't know how you can pretend like he's some sort of hero for brown people when he bombed brown people overseas for his entire time in office, and he even killed a U.S. citizen, and a U.S. citizen with a drone strike with no due process. You can't say that guy's the culmination of Malcolm X's legacy. That's just absolutely preposterous. So I agree with Cornel West. I don't think any of this has to do with any personal angle to it. I think it's totally substance related. And I think everybody who's trying to tar Cornel West as somehow being a bad actor and being nefarious and wanting the spotlight to tear down a newer, more popular writer at the time, I think that's just nonsense. And I think what people who are doing that, what they're doing is trying to dodge Cornel West's substantive points because they have no answer to them.